Hello and welcome to Voices of Parenting podcast. I am so glad you're here. My name is Mussi Diskin. I am an advanced nurtured heart approach trainer. I am a parenting coach. I am also an inner wealth coach, which means that I help people rediscover and connect to the people that they truly were all along, but may have gotten forgotten along the way. So to find out more about me and what I offer, you can check out mussidiskin.com, contact me through there, respond to this podcast, find me on social media. I would love to connect and I would love to hear your feedback. To sponsor a Voices of Parenting podcast episode, please reach out to energizinghearts@gmail.com. Thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. So today I have my dear friend Joyce back with us from Palo Alto, California. Go back to the last recording we did together to hear her story. Incredible wisdom there, incredible practical, inspiring, just action steps and just relatable journey that she heroically and warrior-likely walked through and is walking through every day. So yeah, go back to learn more about that. But today we're going to have more of a conversation about something that we both kind of relate to and struggle with, that I know there are people out there who don't struggle with this, which is like, who are you and how do you exist? And please share with me some of your patience. But yeah, we, and those of you that are like us, understand what it's like, have a very low tolerance of certain, just like annoying, chalkboard scratching behaviors like complaining and whining and negativity, like just, we were talking about when a kid is sick and feels like, the whole world is ending. And honestly, there are so many situations like that all the time when something's going on in school, they had a bad day, something's going on with friends, something's going on with teachers, something I did, something their sibling did. And it's just when they go on and on and on. And I think there's this like back and forth, even within our own brains, definitely within mine, of like, I can't handle this. This is like so draining and so like it's triggering me. It's that chalkboard sensation in me. And yet like I want to hold space for them and I do hear what they're complaining about. So like I want to hold space for that. I don't want to shut them down. I don't want to minimize them. I don't want to gaslight them. I don't want to like be conditional with their love. All the messaging out there, co-regulation. Like I want to be here for them and I don't want to shame them. And also, so yeah, we're just going to talk about that and kind of unpack it together with how to navigate that, how to move forward. Joyce, any thoughts, any ammunition to add to the question, or thoughts on maybe some resolution or pathways forward? What are you
Right.
thinking
So
about?
I feel that the hardest part of it is the two contradicting voices that we internally have. So we see our kid, let's say he's sick, and his whatever, maybe he has a fever, his body's not great, like feeling great, but he's okay overall. He's gonna be okay. But to them, it's like, oh my God, I'm probably gonna die, God forbid. And so they start complaining and whining and crying. And for the first, let's say, 20 minutes, if I'm lucky, I have the mindset of like, oh, like my baby. He's not a baby, he's a big boy. What can I do for you? How can I make you feel better? Here's some medicine and whatnot, and here and there. And then after a certain point, you start getting antsy and being like, okay, the whining's not going away. He's okay, but I'm starting to get antsy. I'm starting to get to a place where I'm not going to be available emotionally, physically to tolerate much more of this complaining. But then their inner voice of like, but wait a minute, he needs you. He needs to know that he's been listened to. And the other voice is like, but it's too much. You already did this for 20 minutes. And the other voice is like, but he's your son. You should be able to do this all the time, every time. And then these voices, depending on which one's stronger at the moment, ends up taking over. And yeah, and then the action starts happening. And so I think, to be honest and to give us a little bit more credit, there's a third voice of like, I want my child to be physically okay. Like, I'm worried about his, what if he's not okay? What if he's not going to get better? Like, what if this turns out to be a worse thing? And the reason I say this is because we recently had a tragedy in the family where a simple case of a sore throat ended up horribly, horribly bad. So there is this notion of like a teeny bit of fear in there of like, hopefully this kid doesn't have anything else. So that's an added pressure to the inner voices that's happening. And yeah, I mean, I feel that as moms, we have so much noise inside ourselves. And it's hard to actually do something in the moment with just so much noise.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's so relatable. And that third voice, it's so true. And I'm thinking like with like that, like school stuff, friendship stuff, parent, teacher stuff, like when it's more emotional. And I think it's like also like a boy girl thing. Like girls have a lot to complain about, like socially and emotionally, and boys, it's like, yeah, fever and and like aches and pains, physical. But and that's not true always, but you know, that's just there's a lot of complaining from the female sources in my home. Um there's that third voice of like, is she going to be damaged emotionally for life? Is she, why is this happening? This shouldn't be happening. Getting upset at the people who are in her story, like taking on, it's actually really cute. There's this little clip that I once saw of like the difference between a man and a woman. And basically, long story short, the woman has a nail in her forehead and she's complaining about the nail. And the man is like, just take the nail out. And she's like, it's not about the nail. And it's, I don't know if all women relate to it, but I relate to it where it's so obvious what the solution is. I know I'm not asking for a solution. I just want to vent. Like, I just want to get it out. And anyway, I explained this concept to my daughter once, and she actually uses it. And she'll be like, Ma, it's not about the nail. This is not a nail. And like, I started asking her, I'd be like, is this a nail? Like, no, it's not a nail. Don't call my teachers. Don't call my friends' mothers. Don't start making a whole big deal about this. It's not a nail. But like, that voice is like, I want to, like, don't just complain. If there's something really going on, let's fix it. There's fear of like what this is going to do to her, why this is going on, all of that at the same time. It's so noisy, like you're saying. It's so noisy. And I think that that's probably like moving forward and like solutionizing here for us, and like practical um like parenting, you know, tips or things would be like, that's the first thing, is all that noise, is ourselves. Like, I feel like what I would love objectively for my kids to have in those moments, whether it's a physical ailment, an emotional thing, I want to believe that what they're going through is real. I do believe that what they're going through is real, and even if it's not objectively the truth, it's their experience, and as their experience, it feels real to them. And someone who's going through something hard deserves extra tender, loving care. Like, that's what we need. Like my sister was saying the other day, she kissed her baby's boo boo, and she was like, are we lying to our kids when we kiss their boo boo and we like, oh, we're going to make it better with a kiss? We're not making it better with a kiss. And I thought about it for a second. I was like, why does it have to be that we're making it better? It's not that we're making it better. It's that it's a wonderful message. Like, there's a boo boo. Let's kiss it. Let's give it love. Like, we can't change everything bad in the world. We can't always make everything better, but at least we can be there as a loving, caring friend, as a loving, caring, you know, person. And so, but first, in that moment, honestly, what's happened, whether I'm proud of it or not, is I'm the one who needs tender, loving care, because my child's hardship is so hard for me to witness, that I'm no longer an adult. Like you mentioned in the last recording, Joyce, like I'm getting triggered. My frontal lobe is shutting down. I'm no longer rational. I can't be that loving, supportive person for them when I'm feeling so much and there's so much noise. Like, ideally, I would notice how much noise is going on and set some sort of clarity for myself to get the tender, loving care that I need. whatever that looks like, so that I could then make a conscious choice from a loving place, from an actual loving place, not a loving place where I'm forcing myself to be loving, which will then backfire because then it will explode because it will I won't, I'm not really loving, and they'll feel that energy and they'll be confused by that energy. And in the end, I'm storming out of the room with horrible energy that's just confusing and hurtful. I'd rather not be there in the first place. But to really come from a loving place, I need to first be, I need to first soothe all of that noise inside of me. I need to soothe myself. Um, yeah, and I guess I want to hear your thoughts on this. One other piece I would just say about the noise and our kids' experience is that element of like whether it's that I'm really truly there for 20 minutes and then it becomes too much, or like for me, a lot of times it's my own mental space. It's my own where I am emotionally, whether it's something as simple as PMSing or, pregnancy hormones or like, larger mental health things like whatever they come from, what I ate, or, marriage issues, or whatever is going on in my life around me that's affecting me, or some really bad choices I made, going to sleep really late, or whatever it is, and I'm exhausted, that changes my threshold of what I'm able to handle a lot. And that's confusing too for my kids because regardless of what happened first, they're sitting there feeling held and seen for 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden they feel it shift and they don't know why. Or they usually have a mom who can sit there and listen and hold space, and then today she's just like giving them solutions. That's me. Trying to fix it, not listening, trying to make the complaining. And so it's confusing too for them and their experience, this like sudden, for me, icy cold that comes over me, and I can't anymore. The noise shuts me down. I become so cold and removed, and I can't be there anymore in a loving way, and they don't know what just hit them. So that's another element just to the question. But I said a lot, so I'll be quiet. Joyce, what do you want to say?
No, so I think a few things I wanted to add was that thinking that we're supposed to act a certain way and what are the expectations of a mom in this kind of situations. So what I think about when I think of this in society is like moms are expected to be there for their kids when they're sick, physically, emotionally, mentally. They're supposed to roll with the punches. They're supposed to leave everything behind and be there with their kids. Or they're supposed to do everything at the same time and be sweet and loving so that the kid knows that you're there and have a secure attachment and. So feeling up that's that person of that, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this, but I can't. I just can't right now. I can't. And when you feel that, I think self disappointment of, oh, I'm failing. It's just, you know what? If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail miserably well. I'm just going to scream at my kid and be like, I can't take it anymore. Right? I think this is where we go when we're pushed to that corner of like, we're supposed to be doing this. And so I think the first thing is to think that there's no expectations. Every house is so different. There's not a right or wrong way to do this. This is what I always tell mom. Some moms are like, just did I do this the right way? There's no right or wrong way. There's your way. And that's the best way you could do in that moment, whether it was screaming, hitting, whatever. That was the best thing you could have done. And oh, by the way, maybe if this happens again, how can we either prevent this from happening or navigate it in a way that has a better outcome for you? So, yeah, again, expectations and comparisons should be out the window in this kind of situations. And like you said, they feel the energy. So being completely transparent sometimes is the truth is the best lie. So being like, you know what, my love, I listened to you for about 20 minutes. I was there for you. I could hold you. Right now, I'm getting to a point where my complaint bucket is being filled up quicker than I wanted. I need to go to my room and just like drink a glass of water so that I can reset my bucket and I have more space for whatever you're telling me right now. I'm not available in this moment and I would like to and I really want to be, but I'm not. So I trust that you can understand me right now. Give me a little bit of time and I can come back to you. And even saying that in an angry voice, I feel is less scary for the kids than being passive aggressive, where I'm like, No, I'm okay. Yeah. Oh, it hurts. Okay, tell me more. Like they feel that. And we sometimes lie to ourselves saying that they don't. And this is what you say. They become a little bit confused and they're like, I think they would probably say, Mom, if you just needed a few minutes, can you just tell me? Like, just tell me. I can handle a few minutes. I can handle maybe an hour. But you're giving me mixed messages right now because you're here, your body's here, but your heart and mind really don't want to be here. So I think that's the best secure attachment we can give them, the actual honest truth.
I love the way you unpack that because you gave both answers there. It's like that what to do with me and what to do with them is that first of all with me and all this noise, it's like it exists. It's here. It's not going away. It's obviously what's supposed to be here because I don't control what happens. It's here already. So like this is what's here. This is what I'm supposed to be dealing with. This is what I'm supposed to be handling. What do we do now? Like, what do I need? What's the next best step to greatness? Like that's my stand one almost. If we're putting it in the three stands, it's like no negativity, just the reality. What are the facts on the table? Let's just see it as reality. I'm done here. No shoulds, no, and then that clarity step of sharing that with the kids. I feel like sometimes I can do that, sometimes I can't. But even when I can't, even when I do either shut down or sit there the whole time solutionizing and making them more upset, and we end up just like fighting or ending in a really bad way, I can always come back to that later and in another moment when I am reset, even if it's the next day, just be like, hey, yesterday, how that ended, that was really yucky. I really should have reset in the first place. Or I know yesterday I was really confusing. I was listening, but I wasn't listening. I was telling you could talk, but then I was yelling at you for talking. Whatever it was that I did, I could just say it out loud and just own it. I'm sorry. Next time I'm going to try to reset earlier. Like, you didn't deserve that. That's clarity too. And that's so they trust us and they want to forgive us. Kids are the most forgiving people there are. Just giving them that respect and that clarity of your experience makes sense. You did experience something yesterday that wasn't pleasant. That's on me. Owning it, it's as healing as having done it right in the first place. There's always the repair. That's really something else I'll say. And oftentimes my, losing my prefrontal cortex going offline happens faster than I could even communicate. And once I'm gone, I'm gone. I can't communicate. I can't be clear. I can't say these nice words that I could write out as a speech, when I'm in a different situation. And so the best I can do is to repair, but that's okay. And they can take it, they can handle it, trusting them, trusting us, trusting we can get through this moment. That's another big piece of nurtured heart is it goes on every level. It goes for the negativity of a rule break, and it goes for the negativity of us sort of failing the three stands, failing our nurtured heart. There, that's not where our focus goes. That's not where our relationship goes. We always show up for trust and finding reasons to trust, finding evidence for how we are great parents, holding space for our kids, creating that secure attachment, holding space for them, being clear, and we allow ourselves to have our bad moments and not let them define us. So, yeah.
And I feel that even in those moments where let's say I'm being nasty to them, I'd be like, you know what? Right now I'm being very nasty and I'm very proud of myself for being so honest with you right now to let you know that this is what I need right now. I'm so honest right now. I'm so honest that I'm going to go into my room in my honesty and reset. And we're teaching them about honesty. We're modeling what it means to be honest when even when sometimes it's hard. Because who wants to tell mommy that they ate the last chocolate chip that they weren't supposed to? Who wants to tell their kids that they are not being nice right now and upset with themselves and with the kids? Who wants to be that mom? No one. And yet we're still being brave enough to do that with them and showing them, you know what? Honesty in my house is one of those core values that I can even say, be a little bit nasty to be honest, if that's a value in my house that needs priority right now. I mean, all houses are different, and some houses have core values that are different from other houses. But I know that at least honesty in my house is one of those things where I always want my kids to know that they can come with me and say, like, Mommy, yes, I ate that last chocolate chip. And even if I'm burning inside, whatever, it's a chocolate chip, but you get the example. They should know that I'm always open, and the communication is open. That channel of communication is always open for them, no matter what.
Yeah, I know, Joyce, that you relate to this, and I don't know if everyone in the world does. I know a lot of people probably don't, but I know that you will. I'm thinking about you saying the modeling that we're doing for our kids to teach them that honesty is okay, and not only okay, but like such a beautiful thing. Think about like what that teaches them for their relationships with other adults. Like when I'm really angry at for whatever reason and I just want to blame the other person and shame the other person, even though I know that it's not their fault and I know that they're right and I know that I'm wrong, or I know that it's not about right or wrong, it's just something else. To be able to admit, like, I'm treating you like badly right now, but actually it's not your fault and actually you don't deserve this. Like in that moment, I want it to sting. I want them to be punished. I want them to be hurt, to be honest enough to say, like, I'm feeling like punishing you right now. I'm feeling like shaming you right now. I'm feeling like letting out all my feelings on you and making you feel bad so I could feel better. Like being willing to say that is so much honesty, but is so important because the truth of who we are is that we don't want to hurt the people we love, and we don't want to throw all of our stuff on them and make them feel bad. It's just in that moment that that feels so satisfying. So having the courage to be honest in those moments is such a gift.
And also,
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think.
that
Yeah,
sometimes moms think that that's a burden on the kid. Like, oh, my kid can't, like, he's handling his own thing, and now he has to carry my feelings. Like, it's just too much. So, yeah, I feel that we underestimate our kids sometimes. And I don't see them as carrying our burden, I see them as being trusted with our honesty. Like, I trust you so much that I can be honest with you. That doesn't mean you're carrying my stuff. I will carry my stuff by explaining it to you because you deserve the explanation right now
yeah,
as why
yeah.
am I being this nasty.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
also being honest for you, not because I need you to hold, not because I need you to know anything about me. You don't need to own my reality or my story at all. I'm not sharing it to you because you're my therapist. You know, I'm sharing it to you for you so that you can understand, so that you can have clarity, so you can know where you stand, so you can know what to expect. I'm actually, and that energy shifts it. I think as we close, Joyce, because we're running out of time here, I just want to like highlight the biggest shift that I heard in this conversation back to the question, like, forward to the answer. Just the biggest shift here is where we come from a place of like, what do you do when you have a low threshold and your kid is triggering you with whatever complaining or negativity or, you know, that they're dragging you down with? I think like the initial thought is, I shouldn't have a low threshold, or they shouldn't be complaining. And like, we need to find a solution to that. How am I going to not have a low threshold, or how am I going to make them stop? Whereas through this kind of up and down conversation that we're having, the biggest shift that I hear is, well, you do have a low threshold and they do have valid complaints. They both exist at the same time, and that's where it's supposed to be. That's what should be happening. So, how do we kind of have that loving, tender, unconditional space for all of that and move forward with the least amount of damage as possible to us and them, um, as we go forward? And that just really shifts everything because that takes away the shame, the guilt, the pressure, and hopefully opens the door for some love and understanding. Thank you so much for this conversation, guys. If you want to find Joyce, she is on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle again?
building up kids.
Building Up Kids. We'll put her WhatsApp number down below. She prefers WhatsApp. Um, and till next time, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Hey, wait, don't go yet. Take a minute to find the beautiful quality that you have, that you appreciate about yourself.